CD Projekt RED have cemented their pledge to fix Cyberpunk 2077. Right now, with its 2.0 update and Phantom Liberty expansion in the hands of players, Cyberpunk 2077 is finally the game it was always supposed to be. A dense action RPG set within a vibrant dystopian future, a high-stakes world of violence, espionage, and sci-fi body augmentation. Getting to this stage has taken an immense prolonged effort from the team left behind to pick up the pieces following 2020's disastrous launch, and it's fair to say that they've nailed it. Night City is now open for business. Looking back 3 years ago to that disastrous launch, it's hard to believe the difference between then and now. It's well documented, of course, but you're probably aware Cyberpunk 2077 shipped in an unplayable state. But it's not just the game that has changed for the better. As a corporation, CD Projekt RED appear to have learned from their downfalls too. Perhaps of their own making, never had the concept of over-promising and under-delivering been so evident. Remember, CD Projekt RED had spent years cultivating hype, utilizing astronomical marketing budgets as a vehicle to landing 8 million pre-orders, promising evolutionary gameplay, extensive customization, and an experience, they said, that would outclass all other video games. Hype reached a fever pitch at a developer conference in 2019 when, from the spectacle of a smoking stage, Keanu Reeves emerged to introduce his character, Johnny Silverhand. His words delivered without a hint of trepidation. The feeling of being there, of walking the streets of the future, is really going to be breathtaking, ring incredibly hollow now. Unless Mr. Reeves possesses a crystal ball foretelling a future whereby, yes, the streets of Night City would indeed become breathtaking, Keanu was simply feeding into the hype. The developers knew the game wouldn't be ready, and the boardroom knew it, but Keanu Reeves hopefully was duped like the rest of us. A community-led marketing strategy propelled CD Projekt RED beyond the goodwill established following The Witcher 3's success. Expectant fans felt a familial attachment to the Polish developer, like every marketing message, every social media post, every screenshot and nugget of information was whispered to them by a friend. The issues at launch were meme-worthy to begin with. Strange T-posing NPCs riding motorbikes with their trousers down, or cars inexplicably catapulting into the air like a pea fired from an elastic band. The humor behind these bugs and glitches masked a growing sense of treachery amongst the community, feelings that CD Projekt RED had betrayed the very community they'd been nurturing as family. The absence of expected systems, a responsive police force, and deep character customization, for example, masked even further the problems many had in completing missions before the game broke. If you were playing on a past-generation console like the PS4 or Xbox One, you could forget it. Night City was an inaccessible mess for you. Current-generation consoles fared better, but CD Projekt RED knew that the PC version was Cyberpunk 2077 at its most operational, hence why PC codes were the only ones sent out for review. In retrospect, yeah, maybe Cdpr were a little bit devious in obtaining those 8 million pre-orders. Class action lawsuits followed, citing misrepresentation for financial gain. The players, well, they understandably demanded refunds. Microsoft and Sony both took matters into their own hands, offering money back to any Cyberpunk 2077 player who asked for one, with Sony going one further and delisting the game from their digital storefront. Cdpr's stock price plummeted, and the poor developers behind the scenes were forced to freeze their social media accounts or else endure endless threats. This point is especially tragic if, amongst all the ensuing finger-pointing, we bear in mind that it was the developers who reportedly shared with management their concerns on the playable state of Cyberpunk 2077 long before the game started suffering a string of delays. CD Projekt RED always had a culture of ambition and determination outstripping capability. Even The Witcher 3 was almost released as a buggy mess, the test and release culture within the organization a symptom of a dog-headed determination to utilize in-house technology to craft games rather than harness the advantages of more well-established, better-suited middleware. For sure, The Witcher 3 was patched up, but the mistakes Cdpr made on the release of The Witcher 3 couldn't be brushed under the carpet with Cyberpunk 2077. It's a much bigger project than The Witcher, denser in scope, more complex in narrative, with a world so vast and detailed that too much focus was placed on making the game look good rather than ensuring the team had the technological prowess to pull it off. There's an exceptional documentary recently released by RED Media, which lifts the lid of the development cycle during this time. A select few from Cyberpunk 2077's core development team are on record stating they needed more time, that they hadn't polished the technology as much as they needed, and that they could not figure out internally what the game was supposed to be. Now, all the disparate elements of a lengthy production cycle only aligning towards the end of the road is nothing unusual. Just see Todd Howard of Bethesda's recent remarks on Starfield only making sense as a grand entity in the final few weeks of production. But for the developers within CD Projekt RED's ranks to be so candid post-Cyberpunk's release speaks volumes. This is a talented group of individuals who, no matter how low their morale, brought Night City back from the brink together. Take lore designer Patrick Mills, whose calm, visionary approach, evident in the documentary, draws parallels between Night City's newest district, Dogtown, and the fallacies of living the dream, perhaps laying a tangible foundation for the dangers lurking within the previously closed-off area. Or, most notably, quest director Powell Sasko, who, through anger at the state of Cdpr's public relations, went live on his own Twitch channel to answer questions for the community. Through honest engagement and accountability, Sasko established the essence of community that had been lost in the fallout. As the wealth of patches rolled out, Sasko remarks that the hostility which once greeted him every time he streamed became increasingly subdued. Improvements were coming, and players began to recognize the efforts the team were putting in. Faith was slowly returning. And that faith has certainly been rewarded, for Update 2.0 and the Phantom Liberty DLC are masterstrokes, a completion of CD Projekt RED's redemptive arc. It's interesting that in RED Media's documentary, lore designer Patrick Mills states that shipping a game usually feels like the end of something, like a completion. In this case, though, he says it's more akin to a new beginning. Play through Cyberpunk 2077 today and you'll be inclined to agree. Quest director Powell Sasko's advice to start a new save file isn't another hype generator. There's so much new stuff to absorb in the 2.0 update that it's a full-blown necessity to start again, to see the splendor of Night City as the development team always intended, to begin anew. And Phantom Liberty, well, this spy-thrilling expansion is the icing on the cake. Its variety of quests, fresh storylines, and engaging characters might go down as one of the biggest success stories in gaming, when all hope seemed lost in the not-too-distant past. As the saying goes, the night is darkest just before the dawn, and never has this been truer than the transformation of Night City. That's all for now. If you enjoy what you saw, please hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, now is a great time to subscribe. We upload brand new videos every single day. After subscribing, don't forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time, right here on Gaming Bolt.